Ghost Code Magazine welcomes in Brittney Slays from Unleash the Archers. How are you today?
I'm doing well, thanks. How about you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for being here and spending some time with us. Obviously, it's exciting. You have a new album coming out, but also it's a crazy time in the world. So I have actually, ironically or not ironically, I guess coincidentally, interviewed another band from your neck of the woods in British Columbia recently. But I want to find out how you are. I hope you, the band, your families, friends, everybody's well. Nobody's ill or hurt or anything from all the things going on.
Yeah, no, I mean, we've been doing pretty well over here so far. We kind of shut everything down pretty fast after the pandemic made it over to North America. So we've done pretty, well as a province to keep a lid on things. And personally, yeah, I don't know anyone or have any, personal run-ins with the virus, but I know of people that have had it or have lost people because of it. So it's really, I mean, it's real, and it's we're just doing our best to social distance, and we wear masks wherever we go, and they're not mandatory here yet, but they're mandatory over in Eastern Canada. So everyone's just trying to be considerate, and basically, if you know you're going to be in a cramped space, you wear a mask, and just try not to be an idiot. But um, I mean, there's only so much you can do, I suppose, until we get a vaccine. So just doing our best.
Right on. Yeah, I don't want to sound too naive. On one hand, I'm like, oh yeah, of course, everybody's really selfish, and on the other hand, it's like, no, I thought we were better than this. So I go back and forth with myself.
Yeah, it's difficult. Um, I mean, I definitely get it. I definitely get it. But it's just, it's to the point now where it's like, okay, this is not going away, and we all need to do our part to try and get it gone. We're coming up on 1 million deaths here across the world, so just needs to just we gotta stop being so lax about it, I think, maybe.
Indeed, indeed. And then, of course, for such a prolific band, you guys have been at this for 13, 14 years and, 4 or 5 full-length albums and this brand new one coming. You've released music all the time. Any trepidation or, nerves about putting out a brand new album in the midst of all this when you cannot tour?
Absolutely. I mean, it's it's gonna be weird. It's I keep saying it's a double-edged sword. I think it's an interesting time because people are consuming a lot of media right now, and everyone's like really thirsty for new music, especially me. Every Friday I'm on my Spotify looking at my release radar and looking at who's released what, and what new albums are coming out and that kind of thing. And I'm really anticipating a lot of great albums this year. So I'm sure everyone else is doing the same, and so it could be a really great release. But also, on the other side of things, a lot of people have lost their jobs, so it's going to be difficult to support people on merch or purchasing the record in general. And we can't tour, which is where we usually make up all of the money that we get loaned from the record label to pay that back, right? So without being able to tour, it's a really kind of a big question as to, are we going to be able to do that? And um, yeah, it's going to be an interesting one for sure. But I mean, I'm feeling positive about it. Those that have listened to it have really liked it, and Napalm is behind us 100%. They always have been. So we're just going to kind of take it as it comes.
Nice. I like the positivity in the face of tough times. And the record is fantastic, and Napalm has done a great job. Actually, all the releases they've had come out since this hit, they've continued to be very strong about promoting and have done a fabulous job all over the world. Ghost Cult's an international website, even though I'm the owner and I'm based in Brooklyn, New York. We have staff all over, and some of your biggest fans are European fans who know you from festivals and tours, and they're so pumped for this record. I think my writer asked me every day for 3 months, do you have the promo yet? Do you have the promo yet? So he has the promo now.
That's
and
awesome. Oh, I'm
and
glad.
I've been listening to the record myself too to get ready to chat with you. So yeah, it's fantastic. I know that it's very cliche and that every band says, oh, my new record is my best thing ever, but I do feel like I know the subject and the content and the concept is a continuation of the last full length. But I do feel like there's things on this record that are like a culmination of your whole career in a way.
I would totally agree. It's kind of a weird place where we've tried a lot of new things with it, and we've kind of tested the waters on a few things, like putting synth in the album. We've never done that before, but then we also tried to stay true to our sound and what we do, and kind of that genre blending, melodic power death kind of thing that we've always done, so that we don't alienate our fans too much. We were constantly like walking this fine line of like, okay, but let's do this to make sure that we don't have people being like, who is this band and where did Unleash the Archers go, um so it's been a lot of fun though, and um I hope everyone likes it as much as we enjoyed making it, so you never know, but
I think they will. And what I like about the record is the pacing of the songs and the variety of the songs, I think is really great and a definite step forward. And I think also, I think younger bands, you guys are a veteran band now. I remember when Unleash the Archers was like a new band. Did you hear this band? This band is insane. And I think when you have a young band, I also used to have bands. And I think when you're an artist, and you're starting out, you're trying to prove yourself to the world and like, look at all the things we know how to do and look at our facility and our talent and our
yeah.
skill. And as you get more mature, this is not a cliche. This is, I think, facts about artistry, is you don't feel as challenged. You don't need to prove as much as you want to prove to yourself. You want to challenge yourself. So I like this record. To me, sounds like a record where you guys are really in a zone and comfortable with yourselves. And like, if you have a song that's not a million notes a minute, that's cool. And it shows
Yeah.
off different facets of the band. And then you have songs that are mind blowing and, very technical and proficient. So, I like the variety more than anything.
Thank you. Yeah, we really wanted people to be kind of taken on a journey, and so it plays a lot with dynamic, and it's in and out, and sometimes it's like fast and in your face, and then other times it's like really chill out, and it's all about sort of interpreting the emotion of the story and the moment that is occurring right then, that what's happening in the story. And we very much focused on the story as a guideline and as a foundation for everything. So it's really all about that the listener being able to sit back and close their eyes and kind of be taken away, and not just have one song after the other that sounds the same or sounds like something that we've already done.
Right, very true. You definitely don't want to repeat yourself beyond your own stylistic, notes, if you will. Let's talk about that concept a little bit, because I definitely went back. I also listened to Apex also again. I was like, I should go listen to this. I think these are related. And looking at the press release and stuff, I was like, oh, I better go back and give one spin to the other record. And I remember how much I liked that record. And they do seem interconnected, and obviously like a high and a low, like obviously not a play on words, actually right in front of you. So let's talk a little bit, without like, divulging too much with the album less than a month away. Let's get an overview about how this concept came back, or didn't ever leave.
Yeah, the albums were actually written not exactly at the same time, but the story was. So I separated out into two records, and then each song was like a chapter in the story, and then the chapter would describe what was going on in the story at the time, what I wanted the listener to feel, uh, how the song should sound. So it'd be kind of like just little descriptors. Ooh, this one's really dark and heavy, or this one should be super fast, or this one should be lighthearted, and that kind of thing. And then I would also suggest a particular band or song if it was pertinent to the way that I felt, the song should sound. Like for instance, Queensryche was a pretty big influence in a couple of the tracks on Apex and Abyss. So I would just say, think, whatever, Take Hold of the Flame by Queensryche. And so we use that as a guideline. So that was written back in 2016, but then we focused musically on Apex first, and there were a couple riffs from that writing time that I was like, oh no, that's an Abyss riff for sure, let's put that away and focus on that later. And is just kind of put all of our energy into writing for Apex. And then in 2019, we sat down and wrote Abyss in full as well. And Apex is all riffs from Andy and Grant, but Abyss is Andy. He just kind of took the guideline and he was like, I'm quitting my job. And he sat in his house for like 3 months straight and wrote music and was constantly sending riffs over and just being like, how about this one for Legacy? And this is what I was thinking for this and that. And I was just like, awesome. Most of the time it was like, yep, perfect, keep going. Like, where are you going from there? Or there's very few that I was like, I just think we need to put that one aside. It's not quite right for the tone or, feeling of the song right now, that kind of stuff. But like for the most part, he nailed it. Yeah.
Did you end up with any leftover material that didn't get used that we might see later on?
Yeah, there's a couple things. We're already starting to talk about what's next. So like, oh God, just take a breather for a second, will you? But there's a couple things, not too much. We tried to use as much of it as we could. Like there was this one breakdown part that we all really loved, but it was in a track that just didn't fit right. And no matter where we moved it or like how we changed it around, it was like, it's not right. It's just not right. And then we threw it in somewhere later and it was like, oh my God, I can't believe it's like, what? It fits in this song. Like, okay, whatever, that works. So yeah, it's pretty funny.
That's cool. Yeah, I often wonder when you get a process like that that's over many years, if you have, I know every guitar player claims that they have like a bag of riffs, a bunch of backup songs and a bunch of backup riffs. And, but you also have, like you said, you have to have life experience in between albums to just live a
Yes,
little bit as an artist. You can't just, yes, obviously there's maybe some downtime now, depending on how busy you are, but you also have to have life experience. You have to live.
absolutely. And we do have a bag o' riffs. I call it the bag o' riffs. And I usually draw it on the whiteboard and I'll be like, boop, like this one goes in there. But we definitely took time between the albums specifically for that reason, because we knew that we didn't want it to sound exactly like Apex. When we first started writing it, we thought we were going to do like a 2-disc album, like 2-disc CD kind of thing or whatever. And then we were just like, okay, we don't have time for that. We need to really focus on these and try and make them the best that they can be. So we wrote Apex first and then like fully took 6 months off at the beginning of the year in 2019 from everything aside from playing 70,000 tons, and then sat down the second half of the year and just wrote, and that was it. That's all we did. We focused solely on the record. And I think that time in between really allowed us to grow and change as musicians, and our influences changed. And I think it's super apparent for sure. I mean, we like I said, we did try and keep some of those aspects because we know a lot of people are really big fans of Apex and that's how they discovered us, and we didn't want to completely fly off the radar. So we reined ourselves back in a few times, but for the most part we were really looking to do something new and different.
Nice. I think you pulled it off.
Thank you.
Besides Queensryche, who you mentioned, were there any other of those newer influences you want to just shout out and mention?
Yeah, there were a lot, but I can't think of them right now, of course. I mean, FM84 is like a synthwave band that we've been listening
Yeah.
to a real lot. They definitely made it in there. And Orville Peck, I don't know if you know who that is, but he's like a sort of Lana Del Rey-esque country kind of, I don't know,
Yeah.
like
I know
progressive
the
country.
name.
And like the Proto Men, I don't know if you know who they are. And who else? Flesh God Apocalypse for sure.
Of course.
They're definitely in there. I mean, they're
Yeah.
literally in there. Francesco
Right.
did the
Actually.
orchestration at the end there. And oh, I can't even, I just had like so many. Um there was a really big one. Devin Townsend, for sure. He was like the sole influence behind Legacy. I just love the way he does his vocals and how he layers everything, and there's so much going on. And so I was just like, that's what's happening in this song for sure. I definitely ripped off Devin Townsend pretty hard for that one.
Well, if you're gonna steal a diamond, as they say, and
Yeah, right.
not only a local hero to you all, but
Yeah,
yeah, he is a hero to all of us. He's
yeah.
incredible.
He is
Um,
so talented. Yeah.
And yeah, I definitely heard that Devi in the vocals. And I was gonna say, actually, it's good you mentioned that. I was gonna say, like vocally, I know that a lot of fans and people rave. You know, your range is amazing, and what you do is great. I do appreciate a couple of things. The layering, for sure. I think a lot of artists don't do are less particular about their harmonies like you are. I think you're very particular about how you harmonize your vocals when
Yes.
you do. And then I think range is a thing I find myself talking about. I used to sing and I had some formal training, and I always noticed that across all music, not just rock or heavy metal or power metal or anything, I just feel like the palette of a voice is so large, right? And I just feel like vocalists don't really use their they don't write melodies that flatter their range. So
Right.
obviously you've been at this a long time, and you know what you're trying to accomplish. So I love hearing what you do with a melody with respect to your range, because I think you hear a lot of like 3-note melodies in all of music. And so anytime I hear something that's just unique or special, or just, oh my gosh, listen to that, that's just, I listen to it over and over because I'm just so happy to hear something that's not the same 4 or 5 notes I've been hearing for my whole life.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate that. Yeah, I'm very picky about harmonies, and it's really funny because in this last session, there were moments when I was just like, I think we need to do another one. And Jacob would be like, okay. And he's just like so open to all of my weird ideas and the Brittney choir, as I call it, or whatever. And it's really funny because at one point I was like, okay, I think we got it. And then he turned around, he's like, but can you go higher? And I was just like, yes, I can. I was like, let's do one more. And I think it's so much fun just kind of layering it all up and providing that wall of voices that's so like integral to our sound, almost, I guess you could say. And I really, really, on this record especially, I mean, like, I always try and think of this, but like really focused on the choruses being something that you can sing along with and something that really sticks in your head. But then also the verse was super important to me because I'd listened to a few albums where they had these incredible choruses, but I was just like bored out of my mind during the verse. And I was like, you can't do that. You can't phone it in just because you've got this crazy good chorus. The whole thing has to be memorable. So I really focused on that on this one. And I mean, there are songs where I'm singing them after a jam, like, and I'm like, oh God, I was like, Jesus, that riff is so like stuck in my head. Like I'm singing my own music to myself. I need to stop. But I mean, I think that's what I meant. That's what I wanted to have happen. So
Nice. I'm glad you mentioned that. There was definitely a couple of high notes that are, like hair standing on end type of notes. I think, did you see I'm sure you saw the Queen movie, right? The Bohemian Rhapsody movie, when they
yes,
do
yeah.
the vocals, the
Hmm.
Roger Taylor dog whistle top
Yeah,
note in Bohemian Rhapsody. There's
yeah,
a couple, not quite that high, but there's a couple that are that high that are like, wow.
yeah.
So yeah, I just have a few more questions for you. You're amazing. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, I'm always interested in the journey of an artist, so I love to ask questions like, what was the wow moment? What was the song you heard or the singer you heard when you were young, before you were ever in music, that made you want to be a singer or be in a band?
um I mean, I think I was always singing. It was just kind of like I couldn't help myself. Like there was a moment one time when my mom was picking me up from daycare, and she was late. She always worked late. And she walked in, and the daycare attendant was just standing there like staring at me, and I was drawing on a table, but I was humming or something, humming or whistling or singing the tune, some song, and I wouldn't stop. And she's just like grabs my mom. She's like, what is that? She won't stop, and it's so beautiful. And my mom was like, listen. And she's like, oh my God, that's the theme from the movie we watched last night. Like, and it just stuck in my head. And so I'd always been musical, like really from very young. But the thing that made me a metalhead was um Countdown to Extinction by Megadeth, when I first heard that album when I was like 8, I think. And I was like, oh, okay, this is, this speaks to me for sure. And but then, I was singing classical music my whole life. I was in choir and doing musical theater and doing really everything, and heavy metal was just kind of like this thing that I listened to at home. And then it was like when I was 18 and I heard Iron Maiden for the first time. That was when I was like, oh, I remember who I am, and I just, embraced it full on, and started watching all the live videos and was just kind of like, I need to be in a metal band.
It's very similar to my own story, although obviously now I'm in journalism and not in bands anymore. But I have to ask, because I also had the same kind of background. Do you have a favorite musical play or musical movie?
Oh, well, Les Mis, Phantom of the Opera. Those are probably two of my favorites. Um, oh, there's a lot. I was like big into Rent when that was out, and I don't know. Singing in the Rain. I love that movie. Like, I don't know. I love all the old movies back when it was cool to be singing and dancing and on film. Um, yeah, those are probably my favorites, I guess. Yeah.
Nice. Phantom is very metal. It's like one of the
Oh
most
yeah.
the most metal maybe Broadway show.
Oh
So
yeah.
I'm a big fan myself. That's awesome. Of course, with the album release coming up fast, any thoughts to streaming? Or I know the band has done a lot of playthrough videos. I know from my various interviews, all the bands seem to be about split down the middle, 50-50. Like, love to stay in touch with the fans, and the fans seem to be very passionate about streams, and the band seem to be on the fence about the technology and how they feel like individually. So let me pose it to you. Obviously, I hope or assume the band will have some streaming plans, or even maybe a listen along chat type of thing. But what's your take on live streams and performing over video?
Well, we just recorded a set for the European Metal Festival Alliance, which is
Nice.
happening, I think, 2 weeks, the second week of August, I think, second weekend of August. And so we pre-recorded a set for that. We didn't want to do it live. And that was very interesting because there's no like drunk person moshing next to you. There's no like crazy PA system in your face. It's literally just us playing live. So like all of our little mistakes are laid bare for everyone to hear. And it's difficult. It's disconcerting. You're really open. It's very different. You're opening yourself up to a whole new world of hurt by doing these streams. Every time I'm slightly off on a note, people aren't going to know really, because it's so quickly gone and we're on to the next thing on stage. Whereas this one, it's like, that's all you're paying attention to. So I'm like really excited to get torn apart for that. But we definitely are going to do something for the release. Yes, we have the plans in the works to do like an album release show kind of a thing. So we'll announce that closer to the release date. And then Twitch, for sure, we're going to spend at least, like, I think probably Friday night of the 21st hanging out on Twitch. We'll do like a little listen through, and we'll hang out and have some beers and chat with everybody. And then I think there's like a chat room that's going to be available during the stream as well. So we'll be hanging out there. And then also there's a chat like on the European Metal Festival Alliance one too, which I think we get like 15 minutes or something after our set is played in the changeover. We'll get to talk with everybody. So, and then I stream on Twitch. I game on Twitch. So if people want to just come hang out there and talk about music or the record. And Andy streams on Twitch as well. And we're hoping, the band has a channel. We haven't really done too much on it yet, but we were hoping to do like kind of just impromptu hang jam sessions where we grab some beers and just play some of the old stuff or play whatever. I don't know, just kind of hang out with everyone. And because we can't hit the road, can't hang out with all you guys in person. So we're gonna do our best to try and do that digitally or virtually, I suppose. I don't know.
Both. Brittney, I appreciate your candor. You're awesome. I thank you so much. This album's awesome. Congratulations, you guys killed
Thank
it.
you.
And I hope we're gonna get through this eventually. Maybe probably not this year, but hopefully we'll get it back. I want to see you get on stages and do, you and your whole band, what you guys are meant to do. That's where I hope to see you next time we chat. I hope it's in person.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. We appreciate you. Take care.